Hello, welcome to the latest news update of the USA News Post. The breaking news is, Dricus Du Plessis overpowered Israel Adesanya, both physically and mentally, at UFC 305. Dricus Du Plessis remains the UFC middleweight champion after a decisive victory over Israel Adesanya, dominating both physically and mentally in one of the most intense rivalries in recent memory. Du Plessis, who claimed the middleweight title by outpointing Sean Strickland in January, faced off against former champion and combat sports icon Adesanya in the main event of UFC 305 in Perth, Australia, on Saturday night. Their bout was fueled by months of heated verbal exchanges, culminating in a pre-fight press conference where Adesanya, born in Nigeria and raised in New Zealand, was visibly emotional. Though the two middleweights eventually settled their differences in the Octagon, some might argue that Du Plessis had already gained the upper hand long before he forced Adesanya to submit in the fourth round of their highly anticipated clash. "I was ready to risk everything for this belt," Du Plessis told commentator Daniel Cormier moments after Adesanya tapped out. "Here I am, and I'm still the champion." The fight began blisteringly, with both men eager to dictate the action. The commentators noted that the aggressor often came out on top in each exchange. This led to a fiercely contested first round, with most of the action taking place on the feet. After a close opening round against an opponent he described as arguably the greatest striker ever, Du Plessis turned to his elite grappling in the second round. He secured multiple takedowns, though he struggled to keep the former champion grounded. "At this level, it's tough to keep someone down," Plessis remarked. "He's a beast at getting back to his feet and avoiding submissions." As the third round began, it seemed Adesanya was in serious trouble. But the former champion responded with his best round of the fight, landing sharp strikes to Du Plessis' head and body. Adesanya's momentum carried into the early moments of the fourth round, where it looked like a knockout might be imminent. However, Du Plessis turned the tide by landing a few powerful strikes of his own, executing another well-timed takedown, and quickly transitioning to take Adesanya's back. He then locked in a rear-naked choke, forcing Adesanya to tap out moments later. "I made a foolish mistake on the ground," Adesanya admitted in his post-fight interview with Cormier. "I didn't perform the way I wanted to tonight. I'm disappointed, but also proud of myself. I knew he was going to be tough, so I wasn't surprised." Grudge matches often end with a show of respect, and despite the intense pre-fight tension between Du Plessis and Adesanya, the two fighters eventually buried the hatchet. Du Plessis even apologized for his earlier comments, including a controversial statement where he questioned Adesanya's status as a true African champion due to his family's move to New Zealand. "Tonight, Africa would have won, no matter what," champion said. "For declaring it South Africa's night, I have the utmost respect for him. Warrior to warrior," he added, shaking hands and embracing his opponent. While many anticipated that the 35-year-old Adesanya might retire after such a devastating loss to his longtime rival, the former champion borrowed a line from the Wolf of Wall Street to reassure his fans that he isn't going anywhere. "I'm not fucking leaving." Player. As for Du Plessis, his journey as champion is far from over. UFC CEO Dana White recently hinted that Sean Strickland previously won the title by defeating Adesanya before losing it to Du Plessis in January, is likely next in line for a shot at the middleweight belt. Additionally, White mentioned that the winner of an October bout between former champ Robert Whittaker and undefeated contender Khamzat Chimaev would also be in the title mix. But for Du Plessis, the identity of his next opponent is secondary. What matters most to him are the words Bruce Buffer, the Octagon announcer, shouts after the fight. "I want to hear, and still," he said. "I don't care who the opponent is. No matter who stands across from him in his next title defense, and regardless of how the fight plays out, Du Plessis will return to Pretoria from Perth, knowing that he not only defeated one of the greatest middleweights of all time in the Octagon, but also bested him in the psychological battle that led up to their encounter.